After 40 years working inside casinos, I can tell you this for a fact. Most players don't lose because of bad luck. They lose because the system is built that way. And once you see how that system actually works, you can't unsee it. I watch it happen every single day. Someone sits down, they're having fun, everything feels normal, then they lose a little, and something shifts, not loudly, not dramatically, but enough to change how the rest of the night ends. I watched that shift happen thousands of times, and I said nothing, because that was the job. I'm not on that floor anymore. I started at 19, thought it was a summer job. 40 years later, I was still standing on that same floor, watching the same patterns repeat in different faces. And after enough time, you stop seeing casino as entertainment and start seeing it as what it actually is. A system, designed, refined, and running continuously for one specific outcome. That outcome is not your enjoyment, even though your enjoyment is part of how the system runs. Here's what I mean. When you see a screen that says $2 million climbing every second, what does your brain actually do in that first moment? Not what you think it does. What it actually does. Because I watched that question answer itself on tens of thousands of faces. The jaw loosens. The hand moves toward the wallet before the mind has formed a thought. That number does something neurological before it does anything rational. I know because I felt it myself. A few times, standing on a floor I'd worked for decades, I still felt the pull. That's how well it's designed. And this is where most people get it completely wrong. Here is what that number actually costs you on every single spin. A slice of every bet you make on a progressive machine is being redirected, not toward your winnings, toward that display. On a network progressive, where the jackpot is linked across multiple machines, sometimes across multiple casino properties, it is not just your money building that number. It is every player on every connected machine, all of them contributing to a prize pool that one person will eventually collect. The odds of that person being you, today, are not something casino is going to put on a sign. But here's the part that changes your actual session. Because that slice is being redirected upward, the regular payouts, the ones that keep your bankroll alive, keep the session breathing, make the night feel like it's going somewhere, those are smaller and less frequent on progressive than on a comparable machine without the jackpot attached. You are paying a tax on every spin for a chance at something that will almost certainly never happen to you. I worked 40 years in this industry. I can count on one hand the times I personally watched someone hit a life-changing progressive jackpot. One hand. For decades. Meanwhile, I watched thousands of players feed those machines week after week. Certain the number meant they were close. They were not close. They were building the number. The person who collects it will probably be a stranger who sat down on a quiet Tuesday with $20 and no particular expectations. Walk past the big number. I know how hard that is. Walk past it anyway. But the machines aren't even the smartest part of the system. The floor itself is. Every machine on that floor sits exactly where it sits for a reason. Not roughly. Exactly. There are specialists whose entire professional focus is deciding placement. What sits where, what sits next to it, what the sight lines are, what kind of player is likely to move through that zone. The floor is a map of intentions. And if you know how to read it, you start to see things that were invisible before. The entrance machines. You probably heard the old logic. Casinos put loose machines near the door, so people walking past here winning and come inside. That was true once. The economics changed. The technology changed. The strategy changed with it. The machines near the entrance now are some of the tightest on the floor. The reason is cold and simple. You already walked through the door. You came on your own. You are not leaving after one spin. The casino does not need to seduce someone who has already arrived. So those bright, eye-catching machines positioned to be the first thing you see when you step inside. They are not your welcome. They are the first test of whether you're paying attention. Most people fail that test before they realize it was running. Keep walking. The machines adjacent to table game areas. Table game players are high-value customers. They're engaged. They're spending real money. They're in a rhythm the casino wants to protect. The last thing the floor strategy wants is an exciting slot machine nearby pulling their focus, making them restless, making them feel like they're missing something. So the slots positioned right next to the blackjack tables, the roulette wheels, the poker rooms, those machines run quiet. Low volatility, low payout frequency, practically decorative. I watch people sit at those machines for years convinced they found a good spot. They'd found a dead zone. They never knew it. Now here is where it gets interesting, because not all placement works against you. Casinos put their more generous machines in spots where winning is visible, near the slot club booth, along the main walkways where heavy foot traffic moves through, near the bar and some properties. The logic is advertising. When someone wins, when they cheer, when the people around them turn to look, that moment is worth more to the casino than any signage. It makes the floor feel alive. It creates the atmosphere that keeps everyone comfortable and spending. So they put machines with a little more give in the spots where that excitement reaches the most eyes. Sometimes that advertisement is a real win. I am not telling you this is a guarantee. Nothing in a casino is a guarantee. I am telling you what I watched for 40 years. Pay attention to foot traffic, not the entrance, not the corners. The places where the casino wants people to see and hear winning. That's where they tend to keep the machines that serve that purpose. Now this next part is where even smart people lose. I want to handle it carefully because the standard version, the statistical explanation, is technically accurate, but it doesn't land the way it needs to. So I'm not going to give you the statistics. I'm going to tell you what I watched. It hasn't paid in hours. It's due. I heard that sentence or some version of it every single shift for 4 decades. And I want to be precise about something. The people saying it were not naive. They were intelligent adults. They would never fall for equivalent logic in any other area of their life. But they were sitting in a specific environment, built with remarkable precision to make that logic feel like common sense. Every spin on a slot machine is completely independent of every spin before it. The machine has no memory. It doesn't know what it paid an hour ago. It doesn't feel pressure building. A machine that hasn't hit anything notable in 6 hours is not one fraction more likely to hit on the next spin than it was 6 hours ago. The program doesn't accumulate debt. The machine is completely indifferent to your theory about it. But sitting in front of that machine, with your money inside it, with the sounds and the lights doing exactly what they were engineered to do, it feels different. It feels like something is building. That feeling is manufactured, not by malice, by design. And the gap between that feeling and the actual math is where a lot of bankrolls quietly disappear. Here's one that's purely about math, and it matters more than it looks. If you sit down with $200 and the machine requires $3 a spin minimum, you have roughly 66 spins before you're completely out if nothing significant hits. That sounds like enough. I want you to actually count 66 spins on a slot machine and time it. Under 10 minutes in many cases. Before you've settled into the seat. Before you figured out what the bonus feature does. Before you decided if you even like the machine. Gone. A lower denomination machine that fits your actual bankroll. Gives you more spins. More room for variance to work in your favor. And more the thing people forget they actually came for. Time. An actual evening. The experience of being there rather than the experience of watching your budget evaporate before you've had a chance to breathe. The casino counts on you picking a machine that consumes your session before you've gotten comfortable in the seat. Don't make that decision on autopilot. Everything I've told you so far is information, floor maps, payout mechanics, denomination math. You can carry all of it, and it will make you a more informed player. But there is one more thing. And this one isn't about information. And this is where it turns dangerous. Chasing losses is not a strategy error. That's what most people think it is. A bad tactic, a mistake in the math. But that's not what it actually is. It's a state of mind, a specific, identifiable state that I watch take hold of people on that floor and change everything about how their night ended. And once you're in it, you are no longer gambling. You are doing something else entirely. Something the floor is specifically designed to sustain. It starts small. You're down $50. You tell yourself you just need one good spin to get back to even. That logic feels reasonable. Then you're down 100. The logic adjusts slightly, but the feeling is the same. One good spin. Then 200. And somewhere in the distance between where you started and where you are now, without you noticing it happen, the night changed character. You stopped having fun. You stopped being a person enjoying an evening. You became a person on a mission. And the dangerous part is, it feels completely logical while it's happening. The mission is impossible because the machine does not care what you lost. It has no awareness of your budget, your stress, your session history, or your intentions. It has a program. The program was not designed to return your money to you. It was never designed for that. And the feeling that keeps you in the chair, that urgent, almost physical certainty that you are one spin from making it right, that feeling is the most expensive thing the casino ever produced. And they didn't even have to build it. You brought it with you. I watched good people lose things they couldn't get back because they could not make themselves stand up when they were down. People I genuinely liked. People I had laughed with over years of visits. I watched them go very still. Stop talking. Keep feeding the machine. And I knew from across the floor exactly what had happened. The night was over. They just hadn't admitted it yet. Knowing when to stand up is the hardest skill in that building. Harder than any game. Harder than any system. Because it requires you to act against the feeling that's driving you. And that floor was built to make that feeling as strong as possible, for as long as possible. Here is what I actually want to tell you. The players who walked out of my casino genuinely happy, not relieved, not numb, but actually satisfied with their night, were almost never the ones who won the most money. That surprised me the first few times I noticed it. Then it stopped surprising me. Then it became the clearest pattern I observed across 4 decades. The happiest exits were the most intentional entrances. These were people who had made one decision before they ever sat down. Not a hope, not an optimistic budget, a real number. The actual amount they were willing to lose completely without renegotiation. Not what they planned to spend if things went well. What they were willing for the night to cost them. Full stop. When that number was gone, they stood up. They tipped whoever had served them. They went and had dinner, or caught a show, or just walked into the parking lot and breathed the night air. And it was over. Complete. The casino couldn't follow them home because they hadn't given it anything to hold on to. You cannot change the RTP. You cannot move the machines. You cannot make the math run in your favor by believing hard enough or waiting long enough. The house edge is real, and it is patient in a way no player can match. But the number, your number, decided before the floor gets a chance to work on you. That is the one variable you actually own. And owning it changes everything about what the night is allowed to cost you. So here's what you are carrying out of this conversation. The entrance machines are trapped dressed as a welcome. The table game perimeter is a dead zone dressed as convenience. The progressive jackpot is a tax dressed as an opportunity. The machine that hasn't hit in hours doesn't owe you anything. It never did, and it never will. The minimum bet that feels small is actually a decision about how long your night lasts. And the moment you catch yourself using the word chasing, even quietly, even just as a thought, that is your signal. That is the only alarm that matters on that floor. And it belongs to you, not to them. You have a map now, not a guarantee. A map of how the floor actually works. From someone who stood on it for 40 years and watched where every path led. Walking with your eyes open. Decide your number before the building decides it for you. Stay away from the entrance, the table perimeter, and anything with a screen full of climbing millions. Find the heavy foot traffic. Play a denomination your bankroll can breathe inside. And when the mission replaces the fun, stand up. The machine will be there next visit, running the exact same program. You are the only variable that changes. The casino doesn't need to beat you. It just needs you to stay long enough to beat yourself. And everything inside that building is designed to make sure you do. The lights, the sounds, the layout, the machines, the air, the ceiling with no clocks on the walls. None of it is random. It's a system. Now you've seen it. What you do with that is up to you. But there's a layer underneath everything I just told you that most players never reach. The casino starts working on you before you walk through that door. The parking lot approach, the exterior lighting, the transition from outside air to inside climate, the sounds engineered to reach you at the entrance before you've made a single decision. That process, how the system gets inside your head before you've even sat down, before you've touched a single machine, that's the part that goes deepest. And it's worth knowing about.